Hi guys, welcome to another tutorial of MindsDB. So today we are trying to predict horizontal prices. So for that, let's log into MindsDB cloud account. Now if you don't have MindsDB account, I'm sharing another link in the description where you can just go through setting up of MindsDB. So MindsDB provides an inbuilt editor where you can run your SQL queries for connecting to different data sources. So here we have different kinds of database connectors provided by MindsDB, such as Postgres, MariaDB, MySQL, Mongo. You name any popular database connector or service out there, MindsDB has it, and you can directly fetch the data from that particular service. For now, let's try to follow the tutorial from the learning hub. So initially let's try to connect to our database. So here we are trying to connect to Postgres database, and these are the credentials for connecting to it. So let's run it. Okay, so here we are getting some error. It says example underscore db already exists, because I have already ran this tutorial, so that's why it shows database exists. Now let's rename the connector name. Let's say it's example db or house rental database. Yeah, now we can see the query has successfully ran and it created house rental db. Now let's try to see what's the content of the data. Now let's replace it with house rental db, and here we have few columns, and we want to predict rental price, and for this we have bunch of columns which will be our independent variables, on which we will try to run a AutoML algorithm provided by MindsDB to predict the rental price. And yeah, the other useful feature is data insights. Now you can see and try to understand what kind of data are you trying to model. So here we can see the column names and the type of the columns. Here we can see location is categorical, neighborhood is categorical, and rental price is integer, which is a continuous variable. Square feet is also an integer. So this way you will get a good idea of your data. Now let's go back to learning hub. Now let's try to train our predictor. So here we are trying to name our predictor as home rentals model, and we want to fetch the data from this database connector called house rental db, and we are trying to fetch all the data that's available, and we are trying to predict on the rental price. Now let's try to run this model. Yeah, so it ran successfully, but that doesn't mean that the predictor had trained it. So let's try to verify or check the status of our predictor. So for that we use a simple query. So yeah, we can see the home rentals model predictor is still training on our dataset. So MindsDB under the hood, it uses AutoML framework or AutoML engine to experiment with various models, and it selects the model which gives us the best accuracy. So again, let's run this. So it's still under training, it's showing under training status. Let's give it couple of more seconds. Yeah, so now we can see the home rentals model has finished its training, and we have got the accuracy to be around 0.9, which is pretty good. So here we can try to predict the rental price for a home having these set of parameters. A home which is of 823 square feet, which is located in a good place, and the neighborhood should be in a downtown, and it should have been very recently listed, not more than 10 days. Now let's see what could be the price of the home for these parameters. So yeah, we can see the home rental price is predicted to be around 4,394. Now let's try to see the predictions across the actual rental values. Now for this, we'll try to join two tables. One is the data that we already have against the predictors table. So here we are trying to join these two tables, and then we are trying to understand how similar are our predicted prices to the actual rental prices. So here we can see the real price and the predicted price, which is pretty good. We can see the model is able to predict near to the real prices. Now let's try to forecast quarterly house sales. So similar to the earlier example, so here we are again trying to connect to a Postgres database. So let's rename this database to be house sales TV, and here we are trying to forecast the house sales for the next few quarters. Yeah, so it says the database integration has been successfully finished. Now let's try to see the content of the data. See, this is the content of the data. We have 4 columns, which is a sale date, and this is the moving average of the house, as in for the last 3 quarters we got the average of the house sales, and here we have the type of the house and the number of bedrooms in that house. Now let's try to train our model. Now let's try to create the predictor. So here what we are trying to do is that we are trying to group the data with respect to the number of bedrooms and the type of the house, and in each group we are trying to order it by sale date. And window is nothing but it takes the last 8 data points, train the model on the last 8 data points, and it would predict for the next 4 quarters. So let's train this model now. Now let's see the status of our predictor. So here we can see the house sales model is still under training, and here we are trying to predict the moving average. So once again, let's wait for a couple of seconds until it gets trained. Now let's try to predict for the next 4 quarters. So here we are trying to predict the moving average for the next 4 quarters for the type house and having only 2 bedrooms. Thanks for tuning into the tutorial, and have a good day.